Okay, so good morning from freezing cold Brisbane, and here I sit in short sleeves, no jumper, because that's Brisbane. If you're inside, it's actually, and no heater, it's warm, okay? Well, for me, it's warm because I actually came from New South Wales, where this kind of weather, the wind is so cold that you wear at least 3 layers if you're walking outside. But I love winter in Brisbane because it's not really that cold. Nighttime, it'll get cold. Okay, so today we want to talk about the 7 keys for expectation, to expectation, and what happens with expectations in our life. And you'll often find them in our emotional reaction as well. Okay, so here we go. So the definition of expectations is a strong belief that something will happen or be the case. So think about when you have a job, all right? Your boss has expectations that you'll turn up at a certain time, that you'll complete a certain amount of work, that you'll... What else do they have expectations for at work? Time, work, treat other people in a certain way, respect. And a lot of those expectations can be unspoken, as we find out, especially when we go to work as a teenager. I'll never forget, I went to work in a bakery as a teenager, and I'm actually very particular about, placing things well, and, I'm not a meat phobic person, but I absolutely like order. So I thought I was doing good order with the bags, and the old lady and she was like well past retirement age, mature person, got very cranky because apparently I wasn't packing the bags right, and it was just amazing. Because you'll often find that somebody's first reaction is anger when you're not doing something they expect, but they haven't actually spoken that expectation. So they have an expectation that something will happen or be the case. And we have an expectation that something will happen or be the case because of something that we do. So think about that, where that can apply in your life. Do you have an expectation of somebody that they will behave in a certain manner? Or is somebody having an expectation, and it's unspoken? Remember, it's unspoken expectations, all right? And unidentified. So if they're unspoken, they will be unidentified. And I'm sure a whole bunch of men will be sitting on here going, yes, my wife has expectations that I have no idea about. And you're right. But that's okay. When we're in relationships, and even relationships here, we can communicate about it, okay? And expectations can cause communication breakdowns. And it's not that we want somebody to change, it's just that we have a level of what we expect, okay? So remember how when we were talking about anger, and we said that we know when somebody's angry at us and they don't even have to say a word. So we walk in the room and nothing's said, but we go, okay, they're angry. We know they're angry. Expectations are the same. I had that happen to me when my mum, my chore was to clean the bathroom, and I knew she wasn't happy with the job I'd done. I'd get her in and I'd say, I've cleaned it, taken super, super attention to do this. And she'd look at it and look it over and walk away saying nothing, and I'd go, man, what is she seeing that I can't see? So when you think about expectations, think about it that you're seeing what somebody else can't see, or somebody else is seeing something you can't see, okay? So when it comes to expectations, if we don't communicate them, key 3, kindness leaves the room. Absolutely, every single time. If there are unspoken expectations, you will find that kindness leaves the room. People shut down, they don't communicate about it, and there are unspoken expectations. So what are we going to do? Expectations require you to ask good questions. So they require you to ask good questions of yourself, and they require you to be willing to ask good questions of the person where the communication is broken down. Okay? Now, asking good questions isn't, well, I see that I haven't done what you wanted. Can you just tell me what it is? That's not a question. Can you see that that's not a question? Okay. It's important to sit down and say, so key 5, pray, meditate, discern your emotions. Discern what you're feeling. Remember, anger is a secondary emotion, so you've got to sit down. If you've got Spotify, throw some meditation music on, and whatever your faith, whatever your belief, whatever your style, there is meditation music for everybody. And for those who are Christians, meditation is in the Bible, and you can Google meditation scriptures and you'll find them, okay? Now, all you need to do is sit there with this music, and because it is slow and gentle, what's that remind you of? What emotion? It's kindness. So if you're going to sit with meditation music and you're going to go, okay, I'm sitting here in this frustrated state, or I'm upset, I'm hurt, I'm sad, then I'm going to slow down my thoughts to the beat of the music, okay? Now when you slow down your thoughts to the beat of the music and you're breathing, remember our 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out, slowing our thoughts down to the beat of the music, then we're going to feel what's happening for us underneath the anger. We're going to ask ourselves the question, what was my expectation in this situation? So certainly with my mum and I expected that she would tell me what was wrong, and she didn't. So I got angry. I was upset. I was unhappy. But I was also, 14 years old and didn't know how to communicate emotionally. That can be generational, but the buck stops with us. We need to educate ourselves emotionally. But my mum also went away with unspoken expectations. How sad. Okay? We could also have expectations of ourselves that we need to identify. Okay? Now, when you're praying, meditating, or discerning your emotions and how you want to move forward, that's the time you're going to sit there and ask yourself, what's a good question that I can ask in this situation? And you can sit down and have a conversation with the person, okay? Now, a good conversation about emotions is not a tennis match. It's not a ping pong match. It's not a back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. I'm going to get my word out there. A good conversation about expectations and emotions is like a lawn bowls match. Now, I didn't look up what lawn bowls is in America. Alex, you're here. Do you have lawn bowls in America where it's mainly mature age people and they lean over and they bowl and everybody waits for that one person to bowl, that sort of thing? Okay. It's good communication is effective because it's like a game of lawn bowls. It happens with just one person having a turn at a time, okay? So when you want to speak, you want to say, well, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm feeling around this, and can you tell me what I'm not seeing, please? So you have to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to be vulnerable in this conversation and know that if they've got an expectation, you may or may not be doing something and it's not right or wrong. Get rid of right and wrong as far as this goes because it's a learning process. And if you're a teacher, you'll understand that we take one thing one step at a time, okay? You might not solve it in one sitting. But we have to be willing to learn that there are things about ourselves that we can't see. And there's the sort of people that you want in your life that are willing to learn that there are things about ourselves we can't see, okay? And moving forward also in this conversation, in this lawn bowls conversation where one person takes it at a time, you want to be able to work through how you can move forward. Now, if it's just a simple thing of, oh, look, I really wish you'd pick your socks up, then I'm sure that you can work together and pick your socks up, okay? And men need to be told more than once, and it's not because they're not listening, okay? I'll put a link down to Mark Gungor's incredibly humorous talk on this. It's not long, but it explains about the difference in our brains and how men are not trying to drive us nuts, okay? And men, it also explains how women aren't trying to drive you nuts, okay? So as you work together to move forward, you'll find that you'll both be a lot happier about expectations, okay? And I want you to remember, above and beyond anything else that we've taught over the last nearly 2 weeks we've been here, you cannot reason with unreasonable people. And make sure you're not the unreasonable person, okay? And we all have been that unreasonable person. We all have been the person who didn't want to listen, who didn't believe what the other person was saying, who didn't understand that I think the statistic is 10% of ourselves we can't see. I will find the statistic. But most of all, we want to get back to the space of kindness and caring for ourselves. It starts with ourselves so that we can care for others as well, okay? Ask yourself today, why am I feeling this way? What are my expectations versus what is my reality? Okay? Expectations can derive from a sense of perfectionism as well, and that's got to go because none of us are perfect. As we saw this morning, I'm sitting here for a second time doing this because who knows what happened. But we either do these things with joy, okay, or we do them grumbling and groaning and you know what? And this is a really super easy way to explain it. Okay, let me take this down so that you get a really good picture. Okay? If we're grumbling and groaning, okay, so is our physical, our soul, our spirit, and this is the pure center in here of us, where truth lives, okay, where purity lives, where a real sense of life is for us, okay? We need to be able to be willing to look at ourselves in a manner that lets us know that we haven't got it right either. None of us will ever have it right. Okay? What we do is work towards having a better situation, a healthier situation, and going from there. And it doesn't have to be overnight, okay? And look, from somebody who most definitely used to want to have everything perfect, because I lived in a state of fear all the time. It was awful. I was worried all the time. Didn't even realise it, but, you know, self-reflection will help us do that, will help us face our fears. It will help us live from that pure centre of joy, and we'll talk about that more another time. And it will help us lead a more productive life, living out and working towards the purpose and plan for our life. Okay, Alex. Yeah. What I'll do once Facebook uploads the recording, Alex, is I will put up a list. I have a list to help people learn different emotions as well. And often it's a case of we've never been taught about emotions, so we don't know how to label the emotions that come forward in us as well. And so when we need to learn about emotions, the first thing we do is learn different names for them as well. Okay, so good on you for recognising that. That's fantastic. So I will put the table that I have down below. Hey Peter, great to have you here. You're right. Yes, that's right. It is hard. It is hard when the other person isn't open to listening to your expectation or your view. So what we have to do in that situation, oh yes, it is hard. It's hard when emotions get involved because we weren't taught we weren't raised in an environment, well, I certainly wasn't, and I'm finding so many people aren't, raised in an environment where, one, we were, as Alex has just pointed out, we weren't raised in an environment where we learnt about different emotions, about how to label different emotions and what's happening for us. And that's the first thing that we have to do. We have to own what's happening for us. It's the lawn bowl situation where before we throw the ball out ever so gently to the other person, we first must have to examine what's happening for us on the inside and be very clear for us what's happening at this moment. Now, emotions, that's a whole other chat show which we can have in the next week. But just remember that when you're feeling like this, they're feeling like that too, but just for different reasons, okay? When there's unspoken expectations, they're feeling like you are, but for different reasons. So we've both got to be prepared to sit down and work through our own emotions first, okay? And also the other side of emotions that we'll need to learn is boundaries, okay? Because it takes time to discipline ourselves, one, to maintain our boundaries, okay, in emotions, and two, actually there's a few things, to learn communication, effective communication. And I will put the link down below to my video, which I did quite some time ago on effective communication, but I will update it. And the other thing too is that we need to be prepared to laugh, okay, and go, oh my goodness, I didn't realise I was doing that. I didn't realise that I was coming across that way, okay, because we always have to remember there's 10% of us at least that we don't see, okay. Yes, absolutely. The generation gap can be a barrier, absolutely. I don't attempt to change the generation up, okay, because I can't. It's just a known fact. We can't change what went before us. We can't. It's been and gone. And I don't try and change those that have gone before me. However, what I did do is turn it around and I changed what came after me. So with my children, and I've got three children, young adults on the spectrum, okay, all Asperger's with different variations. What we do is acknowledge that when we're frustrated, we're having a communication problem, okay? So we're prepared to either say, I need time out to sort it out, which I will do with my kids. I will be honest with them and say, look, I need time to sort this out. It's me, okay? And I think as parents, it's crucial that we adult and we say what we need, because if we don't say what we need, how are we teaching anyone else that they're free to say what they need to us? We're not. We're not. We raise another generation that keep their emotions secret. And that's on us, okay? Yeah. Absolutely take time out. And also what I taught my kids to do was, and I had to teach them this, okay? Say to me what you need. I don't know what you need. I'm your mum and I get and I see what's happening for you, but I don't know what you need, and you need to be able, they need to be able to identify what they need as adults. Absolutely. Yeah. And give them that opportunity to identify what they need as young adults. Don't be all over it like a frog in a sock. they've got to have their own space to work out what they need. And it is hard when, you know, they leave home, but if you've got the open communication, then you're going to have the ability to negotiate, not just expectations, but you can negotiate lots of different things. Okay? Lots of different things. And we do, which is really good. It's very positive and productive. Okay, thank you so much, Alex and Peter, for joining me. It's been wonderful to have you here to talk with, to bounce off and enjoy this morning. Enjoy second time round. And Peter, thank you so incredibly much. I had no idea that the sound was mucking up this morning. Okay, guys, I'll leave that with you. And if anyone's watching on the replay, would you hashtag replay and say no more expectations, because we're going to work on the expectations, okay? And I will be here, same time, same back channel tomorrow, and I look forward to discussing a new topic. And I will have a recording up later today. Pardon me, this will be up on Facebook, but I'll also have a recording up later today about different scenarios with expectations that happen in my life, just to give you a real sense of what happens with the generational thing and what happens. Oh, look, it's just been fun. Enjoy it, and that we do eventually get to laugh about the expectations. Yeah, sure, Alex. If you've got a question, not a problem. Absolutely. And I will remember to put all the links below for the emotional chart and the 5 effective communication skills. How to sit down and not just for you, but teach somebody else how you can go about communicating effectively. Okay, guys, cheers and thank you so much. Bye for now.